Hi people, it's me again, of course, as always, and as usual, Moino Wavenberg. I'll be treating a pagan goddess today in this video called Mephitis. Now, let's get started. In Roman mythology, Mephitis, or Mephite in Italian, was a minor goddess of the poisonous gases emitted from the ground in swamps and volcanic vapors. Mephitis was the Samnite and Oscian goddess of the foul-smelling gases of the earth, worshipped in central and southern Italy since before Roman times with her main shrine at the volcano Sanctus in Samnium. There were temples dedicated to her in Cremona and on the Esquiline Hill in Rome. It is theorized that Mephitis was originally a goddess of underground sources such as natural springs. The fact that many of these springs were sulfurous led to her association with noxious gases. She is almost always identified with volcanoes, having been worshipped at Pompeii. Her name, which likely means the one who smokes in the middle, is sometimes spelled Mephitis with a PH instead of an F. The connection with subterranean spaces also links her with chthonic deities, so more underground deities or deities associated with deities of a dark nature. Now, I just read a paragraph or two from the Wikipedia section, which you can find, as is customarily the case, linked in the description of this video, as well as a neat video if you want to know who the Samnites were, the tribe that mainly worshipped her, a tribe that was one of Rome's greatest enemies back in the heyday, or in their heyday. This is before Rome essentially conquered much of the known world at their peak. The Samnites were one of the first serious hurdles that they had to face in the way of an opposing empire or tribe, more the latter than the former. Um, Again, you can also see that linked in description or wait until the end screen if you want to watch that video again, if you want to know who the Samnites were. Now, as for Mephitis, I'll be simply calling her Mephitis. As for Mephitis, yeah, the Wikipedia article speaks for itself. Honestly, you can read it in all the way to the end, the way I did, if you want to know everything in detail. But it's self-explanatory. Goddess associated with the underground, volcanoes, noxious odors, vapors, and so on and so forth, springs, etc., etc. Now, true to her nature, unsurprisingly, Mephitis is lunar, and she has strong Martian affiliation. So she rings through completely to the fullest extent, honestly, or at the very least for 90% at the very least. So all, if not for the most part, she is fully to be associated in the way of cult attributes or spiritual attributes with what she was worshipped for. Um, in terms of what she offers to anyone that wants to work with her in the way of occultism or esotericism, nothing much really, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Barely anything worth mentioning. I want to say speculatively, bear in mind this is speculatively. Um, I was going to say that she can, for example, protect you from dangers when going swimming, or with if you're someone that regularly interacts with marine wildlife or anything of a marine-based nature, so water-based nature. If whatever you do, you're a sailor, you're whatever, then yeah, I would say that. But she also just told me no, so even that is not on the table. So yeah, the only thing that is left, honestly, is the fact that she can, hypothetically speaking, intoxicate people in terms of only in a manner of speaking, not literally. So think of poisoning others essentially. But again, even this is arbitrary or arbitrarily. Again, the only real applicable, practically applicable characteristic and or specialty is that she can essentially make people fall in love with each other, or the operator if he or she wants someone to fall in love with him or her. But that will be done in a Martian way, so you can expect a good deal of aggression to be into the equation, or to be part of the equation. So again, it's like when you say that, hey, someone is intoxicated with you, it means that the person is obsessed with you and they have an infatuation with you. That But in this case, it will happen in more of a a Martian manner, so think more of an aggressive manner. The person will essentially obsess over you in a love-based manner, or whomever they Mephitis her skill is aimed at. That's the only practical trait I can think of. For the rest, and again, no offense to her, um, there is nothing else in the way of practicality. And even then, I personally, for example, as well as me recommending this to others, would rather choose someone else. Okay. But she's also on board with that. It's not exactly something that she specifically like hypothetically would enjoy doing. But this is more of a thingy. It's more me covering her is more for this for good measure's sake and for the sake of knowledge. But in terms of working with her as an entity, it's impractical. There is nothing really in the way of optimal practicality and whatnot. Now, last but not least, I'm going to close off with her appearance. Her appearance is that of a typical um, Greek-esque, Romanesque looking woman, wearing a typical female tunic, the way they wore those back in BC times and whatnot. But she is more, it's more like dealing with a mirage, and she is made up out of lava, pretty much like we're talking about reddish, surrounded by um, the things you would, the landscape you would find in a volcano, dark ash, and also some spring water and whatnot, and toxic vaporous odors, and again lava. So little, like I said, the description really rings true to her to the fullest. I mean, really, these guys created a thought form that embodies exactly what they viewed her as, which is a personification, or what she is, a personification of again the aforementioned attributes, volcanoes and their toxic fumes and gases and whatnot. Because when I saw her appearance wise, and I could feel those noxious vapors and whatnot, then yeah, I was like, oh crap, this stuff makes you nauseous almost. Yeah, in that context. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And she also says unless it's to be summoned for offerings, she doesn't really like to be disturbed, albeit in a polite manner, obviously. It's just a general statement. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can also tell that she has a strong Martian influence about her based on the attitude, more straightforward, direct, in a martial manner, um, without all the while still being polite, obviously. Yeah, and that's it, guys. Bye.